Hello everyone and welcome back to SciWave, your go-to channel for the latest news in science and technology. I'm excited to bring you today's in-depth Wednesday episode, where we'll be talking about a topic that's not only cutting edge, but also a bit mind-blowing: biocomputers. Yes, we're going to dive into what they are, how they work, and explore some recent news in this fascinating field. Now you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a biocomputer? Well, to put it simply, a biocomputer is a computing system that uses biological components. That's right. Rather than traditional hardware like silicon chips, these computers use biological materials such as cells to process and store information. But recently, a lot of the buzz has been around something called neural biocomputers. These involve networks of neurons, either biological or artificial, that simulate how the human brain works. This takes us into a very exciting idea: using living biological cells to power a computer. And even though artificial intelligence, or AI, has made huge advances in recent years, with models like ChatGPT that use artificial neural networks to solve very complex problems, these models are still far from matching the complexity and efficiency of the human brain. That's where a revolutionary idea from researchers at Johns Hopkins University comes in. They've proposed using brain organoids as the basis for developing future computers. But what are brain organoids? Great question. Let me break it down. Brain organoids are tiny, three-dimensional clusters of neurons. They're created in a lab from what's called pluripotent stem cells, which are special cells that can become almost any type of cell in the body. In this case, they're grown into neurons, which are the cells responsible for processing and transmitting information in our brains. These organoids aren't miniature brains per se, but they replicate some of the key features of the brain, like forming neural connections and responding to stimuli. Because of these abilities, brain organoids are incredibly valuable for studying how the brain works and for understanding neurological diseases. Now, the idea behind neural biocomputers is to use these brain organoids as hardware. So, instead of relying on silicon-based chips, we could use living neurons to perform computations. And while this might sound like something out of science fiction, it's very much within the realm of possibility. But what are the potential advantages of these biocomputers over the traditional computers we use today? Well, let's talk about some of them, and trust me, they're pretty exciting. First up, let's talk about speed and computing power. Neural biocomputers could potentially perform calculations and process information far more quickly than even the most advanced supercomputers we have today. While traditional computers are limited by the physical properties of silicon circuits, biological neurons have the potential to be much more efficient and flexible. Imagine a computer that can think and process information like a human brain, except even faster. Then, we have energy efficiency. This is a big one. Did you know that the human brain, despite being one of the most complex systems we know of, only consumes about 20 watts of power? That's less than a typical light bulb. In contrast, modern AI models require huge amounts of energy to function. For example, training an advanced AI model can use up as much energy as an entire small city over several days. So, if we could create biocomputers that mirror the energy efficiency of the human brain, we could save enormous amounts of energy. In a world where energy consumption is becoming more and more of a concern, this is a potential game changer. The next big advantage is memory capacity. The human brain is capable of storing an incredible amount of information. Some estimates suggest that the brain could store up to 2,500 terabytes of data. That's like trying to imagine the storage capacity of thousands of top-tier computers combined. If we could harness even a fraction of this capability in biocomputers, they could handle and process vast amounts of data in ways that traditional computers just can't match. Now let's move beyond computing power and talk about the medical applications of these brain organoids. This is another area where things get really interesting. Brain organoids have the potential to revolutionize how we study and treat diseases, especially neurological diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Researchers can take cells from patients, grow organoids in the lab, and use them to better understand how these diseases develop. This allows scientists to study conditions in a much more controlled environment which could lead to more effective treatments. All right, so all of this sounds incredible, right? But as with any new technology, there are some challenges and concerns we need to consider. For one, technological development still has a long way to go. Right now, the brain organoids that scientists are working with contain about 50,000 cells. That's about the same as the nervous system of a fruit fly. For comparison, the human brain contains around 86 billion neurons. To achieve the complexity needed to create a biocomputer that functions like an animal brain, researchers would need to scale up to around 10 million cells. This means we're still in the early stages of developing the technology, but the potential is there. Another big challenge is creating neural interfaces. Essentially, we need ways to communicate with these organoids, both sending and receiving signals. Scientists are working on this, and there have been some interesting developments. For example, researchers are developing special EEG headsets that can capture and transmit signals from these organoids. However, these technologies are still in their early phases, and there's a lot of work to be done before they're ready for practical use. And then there are the ethical questions. This is where things get even more complicated. As these organoids become more complex, we might reach a point where they start to develop the ability to learn or even achieve some form of consciousness. This raises some difficult questions. Should these organoids have rights? Could they experience pain? Is it ethical to use them as mere tools for our experiments? These are all important issues that we, as a society, will need to address as the technology advances. It's crucial that we think carefully about the ethical implications while we push the boundaries of what's possible. To wrap things up, neural biocomputers represent an exciting new frontier in both technology and medicine. Combining biology and computing could fundamentally change how we approach everything from building more efficient computers to understanding and treating diseases. While there are many challenges ahead, the potential is enormous, and the progress we've already made is promising. Who knows? In the next few decades, we might see biocomputers become an integral part of our everyday lives. Thanks so much for watching this deep dive on SciWave. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more science and tech updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts on biocomputers. Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.